Hello, it's me, Jess. Welcome to my channel. I'm here with another channeled message. This is a specific message. It might resonate with you, it might not. All right, so this message is coming in for a third party, and I heard let's not beat around the bush about this because I'm being told from the moment that you chose to involve yourself in this situation, you knew that you were a third party, which tells me you knew that these two were in a relationship and that there was some kind of established couple here, or you knew and could see that there was a mutual chemistry and attraction and a desire to pursue a relationship here between these two people. It is like you knew that with some level of certainty. I actually feel like that put you in your head. I think that you felt insecure about that because this masculine, and for some of you this will be the feminine, but I think for most of you this is a masculine. Take this however it resonates for your particular situation. But I think this masculine is somebody here from your past. I feel like it was very schmegdual between the two of you. This looks like some kind of dalliance energy, casual affair, friends with benefits kind of a situation because this man was in some Knight of Wands energy with you. You could have been in some Knight of Wands energy with him. But I feel like he dipped out in some way. I don't think he was very communicative about that. I think that's what had you up in your head because I think you knew that he wanted to pursue a relationship with this feminine or that he was going to be in a relationship here with this feminine. I think you knew that. I think it did make you feel a type of way and insecure and, things like that. And then this man wrecking balled back into your life, and it was very much like a tower energy because I don't think you were expecting that because you knew him, you knew them to be together and you knew him to want to be with her. So you were very shocked to hear from him or to see him at all. I think he offered you some kind of an apology. This was like some kind of very quick, maybe, hey, sorry, I haven't been keeping in touch or that I haven't been around, I've been really busy. And then this man launched into some kind of very creative storytelling. And I think you realize that now, that he was telling porkies, he was lying by omission, he was embellishing certain things. This man did not tell you the truth. I think you kind of always had a hunch about that. And the reason you had a hunch about it is because of what your intuition had told you, and it had been pretty spot on about the situation the whole way through, because I think you knew he was, whatever he told you, it was a tower moment because it flew in the face of how you knew him to feel about her, how you knew their dynamic to be together, and what you knew about her as a person, like her personality. And you seem to have some kind of knowledge here of this feminine energy that he involved with. I think that you did look her up online, if I'm being honest, no judgment. It's a very human thing to do. I think you looked her up and I think it gave you an impression of her. I think you knew that she was a good egg. I think you know this is a very good egg. That she's a very kind person, very cooperative person, beautiful person inside and out. I think you know her to have a lot of friends and to be very friendly. But I think that there's some distance here. I think that she could have been a part of your extended network. So friends of friends, you could have been in the same building, but it feels like, for a certain activity or something that you both do, but you don't really interact. You know of each other, but it's like very loose, kind of thing. Friends of friends. But I think even the friends that you have in common have nothing but glowing reviews or positive things to say. And I think you almost intentionally keep your relationship with this feminine somewhat distant because, I'm hearing there's proactive mate guarding going on, not necessarily with this masculine, but I do think that you find her to be a catch. You think that she's very beautiful. I think you think she's got a nice body and maybe a different body in some way, but I just heard killer body. I think you think that about her. I think that, you think she's got to beat him off with a stick. I think you recognize her not to be interested in F-boy relationships or something, but she seems to have a lot of attention, a lot of friends, and you can see that there's a lot of people that are interested. Although I think you might think that she doesn't realize that certain people are interested in her in the way that they are. I think you see that about her. And this could just be your woman's intuition, but that's the impression that you had of this feminine. And again, whatever story this masculine made up out of his asshole flew in the face of whatever it was that you knew. So it's like you always kind of knew. And I think I just heard hindsight is 20/20, but looking back on this particular situation, you recognize this to be some kind of karmic crossroads moment for you about how you would handle this situation, this moment, and this information that you were receiving because you knew it to be a lie. I really think if we're not beating around the bush here, I think you always knew that he was lying, but I think you wanted you felt you wanted to buy into the fantasy of this man for a lot of different reasons, which we'll get into maybe later in the reading. But this karmic crossroads definitely has to do with an intelligence test, which has to do with like picking up on like pattern recognition, paying attention to the timing, paying attention to the details. And I think actually before this story that he told you, whatever this was, I think you already had a problem with this man owning up to the details and the timing. I think if you're really honest with yourself, he was always very vague about details, or the timing wasn't quite right, or it didn't really add up. It's honestly giving F-boy energy. And I'm hearing that Sam Hunt song. It's like, I got my phone face down and my headphones on, riding around, getting good at the game. Like, this man is kind of good at the game, and he's very intelligent and he knows what he's doing. And this is a part of this man's like strategy, or his strategy, the way that he operates and the way that he gets what he wants, especially in like schmegzually or with love. I'm seeing the 7 of Cups. Like, that's his MO. And the 7 of Cups for me is Venus in Scorpio. So he's strategic and he hides certain information to do with Venus. It could be he hides who he loves, like his love energy. He hides messages, like conversations or parts of conversations. He hides women. And again, I think you kind of understand this about him, but you could have had a very casual relationship. So it's like he never really owed you details anyway. So maybe that was like a bit fuzzy, but this man has always lied about details. And he does that because part of his game is to, by leaving out certain details that he knows are valid and important and would change someone's perception of him, he stokes a fantasy and he makes himself look better than he actually is. There's also some kind of, he operates through like confusion and distortion about his options. So that is, he likes to make you think that somebody is an option for him that really isn't. So for some of you, that was part of the lie, like, oh, she wants me back, when in fact, no, she doesn't. She distanced herself from this man and she's healing. That could have been the lie. But he also lies about, He tries to give the impression that certain people are options for him when they're not, and that certain people aren't options for them when they are, or that he hasn't been with somebody when he has. So he stokes this kind of vague, confusing blanket around him, and he runs from one option to another. So it's like, if this man gets called out, or if something, even like if there's a whiff that he isn't what he says he is, then I think he cuts out and he runs to another option. And I think he gives it a certain amount of time. And then before he comes back in, and he might come back in like a party scene, or when everybody's drinking and feeling really good and feeling kind of like more benevolent and overlooking, like it's kind of like swept under the rug in some kind of like intense experience. He's very calculated with that. And I'm telling you that because even before this feminine energy was like, he was telling you this story about this feminine that you could see around him. And it's a Venus connection between the two of them. So again, they were in a relationship. This is a love connection. This is a mutual connection. It's a sweet connection. It's a cooperative connection. It's giving relationship. So you can see this person like around him. But even before that, there's another third party here that he was not lying about. He could have other options here as well, but there's another mainstay. There's some kind of other third party that I don't think you know about. And I don't think this, feminine knew about. He's very much like hiding her. And this third party is a Mars energy. She's very attractive, maybe very schmegzual, but there's not much grace to her. She's not a very nice person. But I think she's good at like mimicking that in order to get whatever it is that she wants. And she's straight up mean. And he has like some kind of older connection with her. This could have been like like an early relationship. And like, if these two were this third party that's hidden, this is not this feminine that you know about and that you're probably at this reading trying to process. This is somebody else. This person, they could have been in a relationship together. This is like early on. If this was an actual relationship, I'm using that word very loosely because it's nothing that you or I would recognize as a relationship. It was very argumentative, very like fraught, nasty, acrimonious, lots of fights, lots of competition, lots of cheating, lots of third parties, lots of strategizing. Because I can see that there's something here. It's agitated his root. She is somehow wrapped up in some kind of root cause energy. Not that it's her fault. I'm just seeing like she's a part of it, or she's a part of that scene or that time, or it almost feels like she's initiated him into this because this is what he thought that love was. I actually think for a lot of you, it's possible that they could have been in a relationship, okay? But it's not Venus. It's not loving. It's not cooperative. They don't work together. But I think that it's actually very possible that she was hiding him. Like, I think she could have been, I just heard married, or she could have been in another relationship that she maybe left him to go like get married. She was hiding him. And I think he feels some kind of way about that. And there's an obsession here with his ego and getting her attention because he feels like he can't win, but he can't let that go, that he can't win. And it is because she's the bigger energy. She's the more dominant energy, means she cares less. And like she's maybe more senior or in charge. She's the heavyweight energy here. And they're very much karmic to each other. And he has to learn to let go of her. Because I actually feel like that's somehow a part of why he is the way he is because of what he learned from her. And I'm noticing this party energy. She could have initiated him into like drugs or some kind of party scene. It started him off on the wrong foot. And again, I'm not excusing this, but I can see that he needs to learn how to walk away from her so that he can heal. And that's where he can actually start practicing love, like Venus energy. And I think that's what his guides were hoping that this Venus that you know about would help him to do, because it is different between them and he recognizes that. And I'm telling you that this man told you a lot of things in this story. I think very few of those things were true. If they were true, it's like there's holes in the story. He's embellishing. He's making himself seem like a rescuer or the hero, and he absolutely was not. He was in some Knight of Wands energy, possibly argumentative energy here. But what he didn't tell you is that he loved her. He was very much in love with her, and I'm hearing like I'm a fool in love with her. Like I'm a fool for her. Like I fell head over heels in love with her. That might be very painful. I think you're kind of already illuminated to this. But he also felt in some fool energy because he's giving F-boy, so he could have been experienced sexually, but I don't think this man knew how to settle a relationship. And he recognized her strength in that, and I think it made him feel intimidated and insecure, and he didn't know how to start that. And that's where your karmic test comes in, again, with like the timing and the attention to detail here as well about this, because and that has to do with these events that were unfolding, because something's not adding up to you, and you're supposed to like dig into that. So it could have been that this man left like a party group or a friends group. It's something about a timing of a departure from a gathering, a friend group, or a party. So I feel like this man could have left in order to be alone, in order to pursue a relationship with her, or to go back, to be alone, to pursue a relationship with her, or to like go back to her or something like that. There's something here about like the timing and the departure. I think that you knew something was off about it, and it made you feel insecure, and it made you go into your head because there was something here that was obscured. But it also could be when she left a party. Because I think there could have been a time when she left a party that it sort of proved that she is not in some competitive energy. She doesn't want him, or she's a very cooperative person. Something here like that. It was to defend herself. But this man is telling a lie because whatever he told you, he had to cast her strength energy, her being very strong. In a negative light. He cast her strength energy and her inner strength, her fortitude, her confidence, as her being in some kind of Queen of Swords energy, like a negative Queen of Swords energy. He needed to cast that energy in a negative light to a group, because there's something here that was like different. And he needed this group to judge this feminine energy, to look down on her so that they would condemn her, and possibly so that they would keep their distance. Again, mate guarding. He's trying to keep people away from her. The lies that he's telling about her, oh, she's such a nasty person, it's because he wanted to keep people away from her. This is very underhand. So he's telling you that she's a cold-hearted bitch and she's manipulative, and he was in some loving energy, and then she just flipped up on him, cut him out and it got him in his head, and he had to defend himself, or maybe he was trying to defend her, something like that. That is absolutely not what happened. He's the manipulative one. And he was in some kind of defensive energy here. And it could have had to do with competitors as well, because she gets a lot of attention. And this is agitating his demons, because this man lies. And so there's something here also about a departure. Pay attention to a departure, because she could have left the party, and she could have left to go be with her friends. And maybe that's when he cozied up to you. And it's because he felt insecure. It also could be that she went on a trip, like a girls' trip, or she was out of town. And she really did go on a girls' trip, okay? Like whatever, she's an upright person. I think you see that about her. She wasn't lying. This man lies. So he's projecting his negative attitude onto her, because he knows that if he, first of all, he knows that if one of his friends was interested in him sexually, he wouldn't say no. He would jump in with that person. He would lie. He would obscure. He knows that about himself. He also knows that if he said he was going on some kind of trip, what he meant was, I'm going to do a line of cocaine and bang 3 chicks. And so he doesn't trust anybody because he himself is untrustworthy. He does not trust anybody here. For some of you, I just heard this third party from the past is a mother figure. That was random. It just kind of came in. And that I just said that as like he doesn't trust anybody. He could have seen his mom cheating, doing drugs, and it could have soured his relationship with women and what he thought women were. It hardened him. It angered him. Because I do think this man actually wanted love. But then thought, because I think he knows his mom to be sweet, but also selfish and argumentative. He can never win with her. She could have left him to go. Maybe this could be like a situation where mom left to start a whole new family here, like very much felt rejected by the mother. So for some, this third party is like a mother. So whatever she did was totally above board. She literally, there was some kind of, if it wasn't she actually traveled away, it was some kind of perceived distance. So she could have been hanging out with friends, and these were literally her friends. I think that you can see that maybe these friends are more interested in her, but I can see that she's a very lovely energy, and she literally just thinks she has friends in the world. And maybe that's about to be a tough lesson for her. I don't know. But yeah, she literally was hanging out with friends. So he could have perceived her emotional distance, and he got defensive, and he felt like, oh no, I have to like cut off these competitors or like whatever. And so that's when he like boomeranged back into your life. That's another aspect of this intelligence test about the timing. And it has to do with work. So it could be some kind of timing around work, when he left work or when he got a new job or left one, something here like that. Or there's also something to do with teamwork, which I think has to do with you teaming up with you, potentially other people, to cause some kind of argument here. That's sus. Why is he doing that if he doesn't care about her? That's not indifferent energy. And it's because he had this example of this very fraught, very competitive energy, an example from his past. And he's levying this at a very sweet person. It's deeply unfair. But the other aspect, it has to do with hierarchy. And I think, and that's again part of this intelligence test they were meant to put together. And if I'm being honest, I think that you place her at the top of the hierarchy. You think she is out of his league. You think she could do better. You think she's too good for him. So it might make sense then, again, with this intelligence testing and picking up on the patterns, that he might feel some kind of way about that. He might feel defensive. He might feel like he needs to mate guard her. He might not feel good enough. So that's why he's playing all these games. And that's why he's trying to bait you into starting some kind of argument. And it's because he wants a relationship with her. Because he's really actually afraid that this feminine is going to move on from him. Find her peace, find her balance, find her strength, realize her worth. He wants to keep her off balance in some way. And that's why he's using you. And I feel like maybe that's even a tower, like realizing that. And I think, like I said, I think you made a decision to involve here. And I'm hearing mate guarding for you, like mate guarding or mate poaching. So you could have defended his honor, but I think that you took some kind of active, aggressive move. You involved yourself in this, and I think, like, let's just level between the two of us. You didn't have to. I feel like nobody was bothering you. Like, I feel like she wasn't bothering you. She wasn't coming for you. She wasn't coming for your man. If anything, you were going for her man, right? So you didn't have to involve here is kind of what I'm getting. And I think that was like the right karmic choice, is just to say, this really isn't my business. I don't know the details here. The timing of this is off. Your story doesn't add up. But I don't feel like you could do that because I think because of the way you feel about him, I think that you put him up on some kind of pedestal here. You think of him as being an emperor, being very strong. I think this man has you up in your head because he's in some Knight of Wands energy. I think you were in Knight of Wands energy too, but I think if you're honest with yourself, you wanted more from him, because I think he was like a big fantasy here from your past. And maybe you thought the schmegs was going to lead to some kind of relationship, but I think that you really wanted him to apologize to you, come back in some romantic energy, offer his cup of love to you, realize your worth, see you as the Queen of Pentacles. It's kind of like bring you an offering, like bring his chicken for your table kind of thing, That's what you wanted. So when he boomeranged back in your life after you thought that he wasn't going to anymore, it was like your hopes were fulfilled. You were so happy. You feel so strongly for him that you didn't want to look too closely. You wanted her to be the villain. You wanted her to be horrible because it took the pressure off here of your mind, of feeling inadequate, of feeling insecure. But I think you're realizing that you were the escape plan and that he left when things got hard. He was supposed to be working on Venus. He's supposed to be working on how to build a relationship, how to be equal, how to be communicative, how to be caring with a very caring person. But I think instead he got very defensive. I think there was like maybe an ego bruise here, but all of this has to do with like the fact that he knows he's a liar. He knows he lies and always has options on the go. And he sees her as somebody with options. And I think this third party, if it's not a mother from the past, this third party also has options and indulges those options, which is why he's angry at her. But this feminine doesn't do that. And he can't fathom that. He can't fathom that she's got all this interest and no interest in that she just wants her man. He can't fathom that. I think he knows he made a mistake. I think you know that you made a mistake here. I think you regret a lot about this man. I think that you made a mistake involving, you want to right your wrongs here. I think you want to close this chapter. I think your guides are on board with that. Like I said, I feel like something has popped in the ether or something, and they're draining the confusion out of the situation because they're wrapping this up. And they want everybody to learn what they need to learn. And I think what you're learning is that this man is the problem. He is very good at deflecting and directing people's attention. So he directed your attention to this divine feminine. He said she was the problem. She's some kind of manipulative person. And he did that in order to bait you into aggressing against her, being a competitive. He wasn't going to strike out against her directly. He got you to do it. So keep that in mind. That kind of tactic is levied at you. And it's all so he can save face. Well, I didn't do that. She must have been so nuts for butts over me that she just couldn't help herself. And that makes him look more desirable. You know? It's something here like that. This man plays both sides against the middle. He's lying to you about her, but he's also lying to other people about you. But the lie I think he tells about you is that it's never been sexual. That's just my friend. No, we've never done anything. We would never. But he likes to hint that maybe something is wrong because he doesn't want her to leave him. So I think that you're realizing he has always been the problem, but he's been very good at polluting that space and keeping you in your head and making you feel like you're not good enough and making everybody else in the situation feel not good enough. And it's not fair. So you're realizing that he's the problem. And I feel like you're being encouraged on that path. He is a karmic to you. And I feel like your guides are wanting to break this up. This is broke. This is done. And it's done because she's freed herself from him. The Venus in the situation, this divine feminine, she is, I don't know what you're being told about this. She's in a very defensive stance. She's healing. She's at a distance. I just heard she's got a great friends and a great life. And she's healing and she's just pursuing her dreams and she's away from him. And there's a very firm decision. There's a spiritual recognition of that. And she has a lot of spiritual protection around her as well. And the reason that matters is because this situation can't form up the way that it did in the past. Because I'm not saying it's her fault by any means, but I do think she's kind of the glue or like the structure that all of this kind of formulates around in order to give people an opportunity to confront their inner demons and their own karmic crossroads because she's a lovely person and she's being lied on. So she's the one that's providing that opportunity. She's removed herself. You know now that this masculine is a liar and this masculine is some idiot that's trying to play two women. Somebody was like, I can't remember where I heard this from, but somebody was like, he's just an idiot that wants two girlfriends. Like, he's not your Prince Charming. He's not this. He's just an idiot that wants two girlfriends. And frankly, nothing's enough for this man. Like, he can't settle in his spirit and it's not a you issue. And that's coming to a close as well because it could be that your guide team, there's a lot of spirituality here that is really turning up the heat on him, but I'm seeing them pop his bubbles. Because remember I say he operates through this 7 of Cups energy. And I'm seeing them take a sword, the sword of truth, and they're popping all of his lies. I feel like there's a lot of truth coming out about this man. He has a lot of options here. But the difference between him is he has no couth and he has no morals. Like, she has a lot of options that she does not indulge in. He indulges in a lot of options here. He does a lot of messed up stuff behind the scenes, but there's a lot of people that are realizing the truth of who he is, and they're also processing, healing, wrapping this up, and being encouraged to walk away, because he just runs and hides from himself and from his karma behind these options. So they're taking all of them away. And you were one of these options here in the past that he could run to hide from the consequences of his own actions. And I think you're being encouraged, you're encouraged to recognize the error of your ways here, to remove yourself. Simultaneously, other third parties are also doing this, realizing this, so that he is confronted with himself, so he can't get away with this anymore. So you're being encouraged to recognize the truth, learn what you have to learn, integrate it. And I'm supposed to issue this last warning because if you involve with him in future lifetimes, you are going to regret it. Why? The third party that's going to be around him, that you are going to, I don't think you would ever tangle with her. That's how you can know that actually you knew all along that this feminine was very kind-hearted, because her softness sparked your aggression. Because I'm telling you, he was trying to say that she was Mars. She was selfish, competitive, sexual, whatever. I'm telling you, you'll know Mars when you see her. That's the warning. That's this other lady here in the background. And she'll be in the foreground next time. Or, yeah, I just heard mess with the bull, get the horns. But I'm hearing you'll know Mars. If somebody's Mars, you'll know. And this person wasn't Mars. Because if they were Mars, you actually wouldn't have been so aggressive. You would have not gotten involved, and it wouldn't have been a karmic test. That's a very important thing for you to admit to yourself and for you to know about yourself. That you went after someone that was kind because they were kind. And it was because this man, you felt a certain way about this man and you just wanted him so bad, and it was mate guarding, and she was sweet, and you thought, maybe I can't compete on other levels, but I can sure take you by the throat. You know, something here like that. And I think you got to be honest about that, because the consequences are much stronger now if you involve with him in the future, because he's your karmic. You know better. You know not to involve with him. You know that when you involve with him, people get hurt because he's running away from something and he needs to be confronted with his karma. You're being told this directly, and you're kind of held a part of this in a way. If you involve with him in the future, it's carnage coming from this third party, because she's aggressive. She's mean. She's a very good mimic. This is the kind of person that can take you out in the middle of a crowd, and all the men are blinking around like, what? She didn't say anything. But all the women are kind of like, ooh, I'm not messing with her. And then like walk away. It's giving dog whistle abuse. You would regret tangling with actually Mars. But that's who it'll be next time. But this situation as it stands, I actually think you can wrap this up in this lifetime and move away from him. I don't think they think this man can wrap up his third party, this Mars energy from the past. I think he'll always pine after Venus here. But they're letting that happen. He can see her, but he can see her at a distance. This is part of his healing journey because he needs to heal and he needs to get better. I really think he's got a long way to go. I don't think it's going to be easy. And he's obsessed with winning with this third party here from his past, like this Mars energy. It's not healthy, but he can't pull himself away from it. I don't think so in this life. For a few of them, there's a slim chance that they'll be able to do it. But it's like they need this Venus. It's like she's their North Star. That might be hard to hear, but it is like she's their North Star. And she's been removed because I'm seeing a man crawling through the desert on his belly, like towards her. He will exert himself like for her. And it's good because it gets him going in the right direction. And again, that might not be what you want to hear, but I feel like that's another tower moment. Like, I feel like you already felt this in the past and you wish that he would have just left you alone to grieve this and to accept this. Cause I feel like you were well on your way. And then he like wrecking balled back into your life, you know? So anyways, that's what I have for you. This is probably a really difficult lesson. Kudos to you if you're sticking in here. Cause I think you're a lovely person as well. I just think that you got wrapped up in this and that you didn't want to see the truth. So this is also about reacquainting yourself with the truth. Having a value and a love of truth over some kind of pretty lie. Because I think you wanted him. You thought that he was the prize. It was like, oh my gosh, just anything if I can have him. And it's like, this man is an absolute lie and a terror and a devil. And so I feel like it's like, you don't want this actually when you see the truth of him. And I think you've seen the truth of him. So that I think, yeah, I kind of feel like you're writing this off you're right. He's a mistake. I think this chapter of your life, you're like, this was just a big mistake. I think you're feeling like, I wish I never involved with this man. I wish I never met this man. I wish I never had a conversation with this man. It's like, I think you have a lot of regrets where he is concerned. And I do think you're sorry where this feminine is concerned. You were holding back. I think you actually feel connected to this feminine energy. And I think that you wish you expressed yourself better to her. This is sweet. I actually think that I heard you came out of this with a friend, whether or not you know it. Because I think she kind of recognizes, this is weird. I think she kind of recognizes you saved her from a bigger heartache in the future. Like if you hadn't have been involved, then it would have been this third party here and she's mean. Like I said, she's very mean. And he is the smaller energy where she's concerned, and he can't see her clearly, and she can't see her aggression clearly as well. I think there's a part of her, at least on an intuitive soul level, that recognizes that even though you did involve and you did hurt her and you were aggressive and all of that, boy, if you hadn't have stepped in, she's like, I could have fallen for him. I think she felt it for this man. She was like, I could have really fallen for this man, or I was gonna go full force in with this man. For some of you, that's for some. And she was like, thank God I didn't, because that would have been just like a wreck or something. So I just heard, whether or not you know it, I think you walked away here with a pretty powerful soul friend here. And I think her guides are powerful, and they smile upon you, and I think they look after you too. So that's just a very sweet energy to kind of end on, because I think you're realizing she's the prize in this situation, but also for you, you're like, I found a friend, or I found a cool person, like not you, idiot. Not you, like I'm talking about this masculine, you're like, not you, jerk, like but she's pretty cool, and I like her. I actually want to be around her. And maybe this is healing this mate guarding thing in you, where you're realizing you don't have to be afraid of feminine energy. And that when somebody has values and they know how to act, I think she's a plus in your life, where you're like, actually, it might be nice to have her as a friend. And actually, she would never hurt me. And if somebody tried to make a pass at her, she would tell me or something. Like, it's kind of, maybe you've had other issues with other friends here. I don't know. That's just for some of you. For others, like, this is just a very loose association. So anyways, that's what I have for you. If that resonates, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Bye, guys.